So I used to always think that this basement just had a humidity problem or something to do with the basement system. Before we owned it, it had a Ayers, that's the local company, Ayers, Bears waterproofing system put in the house. What they did not address at all in putting in this basement system was the Eave trough system outside. So as you can see here, I started scraping off any of the loose paint. We did find that there was some loose masonry, and in some areas we even had gaps to the outside of the house. You see that light? You should not be able to see that light. Now we've had probably over the years 3 or 4 tenants in this house, one of them being very, very long-term. She kept everything in plastic tote boxes in the basement and was very much a hoarder. Now, she had never told us in the time that she was here. We never lived in the house, by the way. We bought it and started renting it out. She never told us that it was very wet. She always ran a dehumidifier down here. She always also ran a fan. Since I have been able to work on the house and have it back in my possession for the longest stretch ever, I have been having the windows open for ventilation because we were getting a lot of humidity and condensation in the entire house. I came by to check on the house early spring. It had been closed up for the winter, winterized, and found that this area of the basement floor was wet. There's an eaves trough above this area right up here, but these are drop down basement windows, so any water that does come this way from heavy rainfall, the fireplace is also there. The cement slab connects with the house, but you know, you can't ever have like an absolute bond there. There's no flashing or anything. So I'm going to address that situation, possibly with some flashing, tar, something like that, to help keep water away from the foundation. And you know, maybe we can make an eaves trough system over the window, something to divert any excess rainfall. Now there is a downspout there, and it is going under the driveway and off to the sides. So this area should have seen some benefit over the years from changing that, but you can see like there's a water puddle here. Now today I come in and I had forgot to turn on my dehumidifier when I left the other day. I can see little bits of water as if it's coming through the concrete at the edge, or maybe just because it's a different age of concrete, it's more wet here. Maybe it's just more porous and holding onto the water, but you can see I've got water coming from there. And this is the center of the house. This is the support system. This is our load-bearing wall. And as you can see, I've had a bit of mold going on here in this joist spanning board on that load-bearing wall. I don't know why they ever put in these little peekaboo windows in there, because this has never been finished space. This was originally a HUD home, H-U-D. It is entirely built on government funds. And I can see that they did some things a little different than others. This is a cold storage room under the porch, and there's no insulating factor between this room and the ceiling, which is the cement slab on the porch up above. So we get condensation and humidity happening here. Now when they did the basement system, they did put in a floor drain, but you can see this is very wet. Now this pipe right here is the water system coming in from the city into the meter and then up into the rest of the house. I've already gone through and scraped and painted this entirely. I have done this room probably 3 times. The best way I have found online addressing it is to put pink closed cell foam, or possibly blue, repaint all this, have it totally sealed so that you've got a good clean surface, prime and paint all this and insulate the whole thing with foam, but at the minimum, do the ceiling, do any seams and edges with spray and foam, and as far down as the wall condensates, do that. The other alternative, if you want to just keep it a cold room with none of that condensation, is to put a doorway on this, a closed door, anything. A board and batten door would be something better than what is there now. So there is a drain clean out here, and this goes from the house to the city, so that if you have any sump pump problems, any plumbing backup problems, this is where you would clean it out. There is another one on the other side of the basement. This side is way, way wetter than the front of the house. The front of the house does have some old eaves trough system in place that is failing. When the failing happens, all kinds of problems set loose. There is no eaves trough system on the back of the house because the house was re-roofed and it wasn't put back on. So eaves troughs and downspouts are very important in your home protection and home care. Without these, the water can run right down the siding and down into your basement. This particular house had some bad supports here. Water started going down the siding. It was able to get in to the top of the window and penetrate the wall on the inside of the house. It had to all be opened up and dried out. This downspout had been missing because the previous tenants had taken it off and put it aside. All that water was going right down here, and you can see it dips right down. It was running right down to the basement, getting the floor joists, the house sill wet. It is a terrible mess. The back side of this house was re-roofed at one point, and without knowing, it never got put back on. Now, we knew that we would eventually have to do another repaint in between when the roof was done and now, and I think that my husband had decided he would wait. All that water is running off, running right down here. Remember that open spot that we saw down in the basement? There has been some patchwork here before that I had not seen, and this little gap here is going to have to be pulled out, filled back in. They probably didn't use the right type mortar. We've got some rot here. This is all because of not having the eaves trough up there with the downspout running here and away from the house. You want to get as many feet on that water to get away from your house as possible. Right here, the downspout from the back breezeway section was missing the little curved piece and the spout going to the backyard. I was able to add that last week, but we're still getting a lot of water just in general coming from this area. There was some caulking that needed to be done right here. Without that, this area was getting very wet. When I came today, it had rained yesterday. This area was quite wet. It doesn't get a lot of sun. This area had standing dirt, and there's a crack in this block here also. So the best thing to do is try to chisel out anything loose here that we can. A little roly-poly running around right there, and this basement gets full of roly-polies and earwigs and spiders. So in addressing the water situation, as well as if you're doing any painting, go ahead and work on your windows. These bottom windows don't have any caulk on the outside. I can see it on the inside, but I think we could use a bead right here and along the edge. Now at some point somebody had gone through and mortared around the windows, but what they probably should have done is use a spray foam to fill that gap first. So we're going to clean this up, get some of the excess dirt out of the window well, and possibly put a window well cover over this area. Now with this eaves trough up here, there's no flashing against the house. They just put in like a piece of caulking or something. That's going to have to be flashed to get that water running away, because there was a lot of paint loss on the house right in this area, and it's because water was getting between that gap and running down, and this windowsill is going to have to be replaced because too much water has come down and trickled to here and just kind of run through and rotted it. So we will be getting up there and doing what we can to redirect that water as well. So I went to the big box store and I priced out eaves troughs for the back of this house. For the amount of damage that the water can cause the inside of your house, the utility sink feet are rusted out, it can damage your washer and dryer, it can make the sump pump run excessively and shorten the life of your sump pump. You can end up with mold and mildew problems and just all sorts of situations. This is almost a 30-foot wide house at $8.98 a 10-foot section, with the downspouts being at about $11, the end caps, the eaves trough cement or glue. Altogether, it is probably going to cost me $60 to do this whole back side of that house. And that is well worth the money to keep this basement dry. So we're going to go pick up those tools, possibly another handyman, and we're going to get right to it. So we are back at the eaves trough water redirection project. We got rained off yesterday, and we went and got all the supplies we needed, thinking we were going to get here. Rainstorms hitting here. So we took the supplies back home, came over today as soon as we could. There's been some cloud and rain showers going through, So this was the first opportunity to get back to this. Here we've got an end cap, your Eave's trough, $3.50, $8.98. A tube of seam sealer caulk, and that was roughly $7, I think. Because we're doing this in sections, these are 10-foot sections. We were able to get them in the car with it running out the back window on an angle. Otherwise, they have 16-footers if you wanted to have less seams. I figured it didn't make a difference if we paid an extra $2 or $3 for this piece here. That is your joint seam. So you see it's just fitting down in a channel there. There are gloves in the car if you need them. You do want to watch for sharp edges, of course. And then you caulk the seams. You probably even could screw that to pinch it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it just like I did the end.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
because you can see that.
Oh, this. I bet you this. When you get them both in, I bet this folds over. And then this.
We didn't bring the crimper for it. All these little things keep coming up. Remembered we needed.
I'll be able to do it.
Gutter screws.
But I really need to put both sections together.
Yeah, we're doing what we can on the ground before we go up on the ladders, and I just noticed there's a little bit of paint up there that I need to go hit real quick. I'm using a paint and primer one, so it's no big deal. It'll dry fast. We got 2 sections of downspouts. We bought 2 different elbows, one to come out from the house or one to go that way. The one on the front's going that way. So I thought they should match. There's a bit of a low spot here, and we don't want to just fill that with water.
Away from these parts.
We have to cut a hole for a downspout. They were out of the piece that you can put in for that. However, this was money savings too by quite a bit. A left end for the other side. This is a gutter mounting bracket for the downspout. This attaches to the house, and then the strap goes over it like this. And then you just screw into here. So that's why we bought the 90 pack of screws. You could get them in a 10 pack also. And then there were many different mounting brackets. We've used these before with nails. We decided to go with the screws because we thought it would hold a little bit better into the wood, where you don't have like ice weighing it down and pulling it out, because the screws will bite and hold better. So 3 sections of that total before any rebates, sales, and discounts. It actually ended up being $112 with a couple additional things. We knew we needed, you know, like a extra socket driver, I think, just some odds and ends, but then we picked up a couple things for some other projects too. So I don't know exactly what all was on that, but the basement wasn't as wet today. We didn't get torrential rains, and it's going to come along really, really good. So I am going to go grab that ladder and do my touch up there. We have just the siding starting, somewhere up there, about the second board down. It's like a half section of siding, and then the fascia. So that fascia needs a quick scraping and painting. All right, so that job up there took an extra 30 minutes I hadn't planned on. But I went down, I figured they're 5-inch Eaves troughs. You can do 6-inch, which is commercial size, and the plastic ones were smaller. I think they were 4. So I just went down a couple board lengths to make sure that I don't have to edge out underneath this so much. He went ahead and got this all assembled in caulk. Was your caulk running thin because it's so warm? I did windows the other day, and it was so hot, the silicone caulk just was, oh yeah, that's a nice, neat job. Well, it's not going to leak. Look, we're getting walnuts already. Maybe that's the last year's walnut. There's new walnuts. Okay, screwed together behind and on the front, and you're leaving the underneath side for after for flexibility. Okay, already screwed. Oh, Trey's been here with his mower. Okay. So, boy, is it rigid enough for lifting? Okay. We'll work on getting her up then. So one of the hardest parts about working on Eaves troughs, especially with 2 people, is being able to hold it up I was on the ladder for half an hour just holding it in place while he was trying to tuck it under the flashing. If your flashing isn't already there, maybe it would go faster, but the back side of the house has already been re-roofed. And when this side gets re-roofed, of course, we'll do new Eave's trough on this. We decided it's just gonna get us by for now, but I can see that trouble spot right there with a lot of our issues. So we're gonna call it for today. The mosquitoes are the absolute worst than ever. And this neighborhood is just a jungle and a breeding ground for mosquitoes. We've got people with perennial gardens on all sides, and the mosquitoes are just hiding in them. But we've got it all up. We have to still cut the end, but we actually have to go home and do hay for 2 or 3 days, and it's not going to rain until past then. So we're leaving this uncut so that if it does rain, it's been real, iffy today, any rain will run off. And if it starts flowing hard, it's just going to go away instead of settling in this low area. Great, good job, buddy. So definitely use the seam caulk. It is way different than like window caulk. It's more of a cement type. And on a house that I was working on last year in another neighborhood, when I went around doing the window caulking, I just went ahead and did it in some areas where it was dripping on the porch, and it didn't last, and it didn't hold, it didn't do a good job, and I still was getting ice on the porch. So this is how it is looking right now. He decided to use his seams instead of going every 2 feet all the way down, and use that for his spacing to get better hold, and then you won't get any ice. You also want to make sure that you have a slight fall from one end of the house to the other so that you don't get standing water in the seam. And we didn't want to do it too extreme. Probably from one end to the other is maybe a total of 1 inch. So it's got that fall to be able to run downhill and not have water standing in it. So the back of the house is looking a lot better. And of course, yeah, the siding will be another project. I will tell you, one of the hardest things about this job so far has been dealing with the mosquitoes. I stepped away for just a minute to grab some bug spray, and he started sniffing up there, but they're already flying around him. Of course, we brought long sleeves, and they're biting me through my shirt today. They were the other day too. They're hungry. And we've got at least, 7 or 8 days of rain coming right now. So we wanted to get the downspout on. So one more day today of dry weather, and it's supposed to start in the middle of the night. So we're going to go ahead and put the downspout on, cap off the end, and we'll attach it to what's left of the siding. We'll just take it off and reattach it to the new siding once we get that coming. But we are having a hard time finding the siding. It's it's 1/2 inch by 6 inch.
Little pliers at all?
Just regular pliers?
Yeah, I gotta straighten this up. I don't want to do it with my fingers or I can't. Okay. What's happening now? I could have killed him.
I could have what?
Killed him.
I'm filming you.
I know. You can put it there.
See, it's...
Yeah. You want to be on more of an angle than that.
If you don't get your angle right, then you end up with a gap underneath. And if you can't get it pushed on enough, then it can end up dripping out and down. So he's going to get that on there as tight as he can. All right. Screw it on so nobody takes it off.
Then pan the camera over that way. so nobody steals them. Scrap aluminum.
He says that because I found a basket full of our front eavesdrop in the neighbor's stash behind their garage, and I stole it back. I knocked on the door first and nobody was home, and there was rain coming that night, so I didn't care. I just took it.
Maybe they'll notice and not talk to us anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Go away.
That will go far away.
Oh.
And I don't think you need to cut anything extra off of that because of the low spot right now.
Cut anything off that?
Yeah.
No, we need two. We need like 20 feet.
Well, and this is the case where it would be really good to just bury the drain tile and run it out, like I said. You know? Yeah. So a long time ago, it's hard to tell. And I'm in a knot spot right here, but this really slopes down. We had a tenant who wanted the garden, and that area there, I think he tried a garden there first. Maybe that's why there's a low spot. Yeah.
Was here and somehow
He had somebody come by with a tractor or something, he said.
something.
I think the guy that used to be over here.
That way,
Yeah.
and now we gotta get it back because we want to get this all away.
Yeah.
So,
So right now there's, you can see here when you're down in person, there's too much dirt up by the house. It needs to be graded away. So that has to come back down to here where it originally was. So
now we need another 10-footer, and that will hook right into this
Yeah.
aluminum. And
well, this elbow is all shot. I just
well, we have
did what I could.
we have a brand new one right there.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the elbow for that. See, and this is junk.
It's, I know I saw it was crushed, but
Okay, buy 2 pieces, please. Buy this piece.
yeah.
That's. We'll switch that right out, bud.
Okay.
That's a nice elbow right there. That's a nice deal.
Yeah.
So switch this. We own that. We own the elbow. Get 2 10-foot lengths, and we'll just put it out. And that'll, and then see right here, that'll really go.
Oh yeah.
There's a little fall all the way.
What about at the other end? What about the other end off the garage? This one's down right now, but you can see I came and cleaned out the east trough, and the last rain made the rest come out. It's not attached.
Oh,
It's dropped down here.
we have to fix that. You don't need to buy this piece though. This is fine.
Okay.
His goes.
Screw it in.
Put this in the movie. Oh wow! Down, down, down,
Uh-huh.
down. Look, that's hilarious.
T-Post holding that up for fall.
How many feet of eavesdrop drain do you have? Well, how big is the city lot? Same number.
All of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know. Looks good. All right. Well, that is our completed back eaves trough. I'll get him some more pieces so that he can do that. After all that work of painting that in that last video, I even scraped some of that. It was so chunky. Will the old stuff and the new stuff marry? They'll be okay?
What's that?
Over there.
Yeah, it looks the same.
Okay. Because that's galvanized.
No.
It's heavy. Okay, we'll get another
That'll
piece.
add a little texture to that garage too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Having that white come out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we need to order some siding, bud.
Okay. Well, lumberyard closed. But the good thing is the local lumberyard has the siding. They have it in stock, but I got to double check their price.
It's almost guaranteed that garage with breezeway was added on, because look at the quality. Look at that siding, and then look at that siding.
Yeah.
Like the same place.
But this gets so much more sun than this, and this has the fall. It didn't have the east trough for 15 years.
Neither does that. See what I'm saying, though?
I know, but it didn't. The roof line is different, is what I'm saying.
All right.
See, I'm right. Always listen to your mom.
And we forgot to buy that.
I told you. Okay. He wants to put a cover on our vent pipe there. That is your vent pipe for the whole house. And you know, around here, I was just by that tree. There's walnuts. There's a few oak trees in the neighborhood. You get debris in your house vent, and then it clogs your plumbing, and then you've got to call a plumber. And they usually want to sewer snake your whole house before they do the rest of it. So for $2 or $3 you can cover that with some extruded metal stuff that is actually made for your downspouts, and metal clamp it on there. So we'll go get some more supplies. I think this is good for today. All right, we took a break to run for supplies. We got these downspouts locally, all come in 10 feet sections. So we had to cut 4 feet off of this one for the drop so that it would come out the end here. He took the end from that one and stuck it here, and took the end from here and put it on there, extending that to 14 feet, getting it way past this little hump and low spot here, so it'll drain right out and just kind of go into that area and feed all that water away from the house. So tonight, 2 a.m., bring it on, water. This place is going to be dry. The little downspout that I had found and set here, it was only giving it a couple of feet to fall, and then could have still been just kind of draining off this way and ending back up against the block here. He took a shovel and flattened that out right there a little so that the water could keep flowing, and took that dirt to start filling in this area, but he'll figure out what he wants to do about moving that dirt. This is how you keep your house dry, and we'll see how the basement dries out, and we'll give you any updates when we start doing our cinder blocks there at the bottom. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you liked what you saw. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.